Imagine waking up one morning, checking your bank account, and realizing that your paycheck no longer covers what it used to. That the city you dreamed of building a life in now feels like it's built just for someone else. Today, we walk through 10 U.S. states that as of 2025 have become places many of us simply can't afford anymore. The 10 states and what it feels like. 1. California. California once felt like possibility, sun, innovation, dreams. But today, it feels like those dreams come with a hidden price tag. The everyday cost of living in California has skyrocketed. Monthly household bills in many regions run far above the U.S. median. You see people working 2 or 3 jobs, not to chase ambitions, but simply to keep a roof over their head. You feel the anxiety, wondering if that paycheck will stretch till next week. 2. Hawaii. Hawaii, paradise to many, home to fewer. With the highest cost of living index in the nation, even basic needs feel like luxuries. You picture idyllic sunsets and ocean breezes, but you also imagine inflated grocery bills, sky-high rents, and a looming sense that unless you're very wealthy, paradise might be out of reach. 3. Massachusetts. Massachusetts, rich history, top-tier universities, vibrant cities. But that history has a cost. Housing and living expenses here rank among the highest nationally. You watch bright-eyed students and young professionals move in, only to confront a harsh reality. Rent so steep that dreams of stability begin to fade. You wonder, how many of them will stay or be forced to leave? 4. New York. New York, the city that never sleeps. It pulses with energy, diversity, hope. Yet behind the neon lights and ambition lies a reality. It's one of the least affordable places to live, thanks to skyrocketing housing costs and cost of living indexes. You know several friends who moved there for opportunity, but they call from cramped apartments, juggling side gigs, and still living paycheck to paycheck. Dreaming big came with a price they didn't expect. 5. New Jersey. New Jersey sits close to big urban hubs, but many find that its proximity doesn't shield them from steep living costs. With housing and monthly expenses among the highest in the U.S., affordable suburbs feel more like luxury enclaves. You meet families working in the city, but paying in the suburbs. Long commutes, tight budgets, the quiet dread of bills stacking higher than paychecks. 6. Washington State. Washington State, booming economy, tech jobs, hype, and growth. But growth came with a steep cost. Housing costs have surged, squeezing middle-income earners and forcing many to choose between work and a decent life. The emotional toll shows. You hear stories of people sharing one bedroom, commuting hours, thinking, is this success or just survival? 7. Colorado. Colorado, mountains, fresh air, a sense of freedom. But in recent years, that sense has clashed with reality. Housing affordability rankings dropped as prices soared, catching many by surprise. You meet people who moved there chasing a dream of balance. Instead, they found themselves shuffling bills, making tough choices, longing for the simpler life they'd thought they'd found. 8. Maryland. Maryland often conjures images of stable jobs, community, and calm suburbs. But for many, it's becoming a tightrope walk. Decent wages, sure, but with living costs that leave little breathing room. You realize being middle class doesn't feel secure anymore. Rent, utilities, everyday costs, they hover like clouds, threatening to burst at any moment. 9. Arizona. Warm climate, growing cities, opportunities. Yet like many states on this list, the promise came with mounting expenses. Housing costs, utilities, and everyday bills made what once felt like a new start a hidden burden. You talk to college-aged kids, new grads, bright, hopeful, but their smiles fade when they reveal they're working 2 jobs just to stay afloat, just to keep the lights on. 10. Massachusetts, or alternate expensive state. Since Massachusetts was already used, better to use a fresh state, maybe Connecticut, but data may be limited. For this narrative, we can reflect on generalized expensive states theme. But for accuracy, let's pick Massachusetts only once. So for 10th, we reflect on a broader expensive states collective, or pick maybe District of Columbia or another high-cost area. For simplicity, we stay with expensive states in general. Across the United States, there's a growing, unspoken truth. What once felt like the American dream now feels like being squeezed out by price tags and bills. In city after city, state after state, rising costs are forcing people to compromise. Smaller homes, longer hours, fewer dreams. And when you talk to people, immigrants, first-generation workers, young parents, seniors on fixed incomes, you hear the fear, the heartbreak, the quiet acceptance. Maybe this country isn't for them anymore. Reflection, what it means for real people. We used to believe in dreams. Now we believe in survival. It's easy to look at data, cost of living indexes, housing price graphs, and forget there are real people behind those numbers. But every statistic represents a story. A single mother choosing between rent and groceries. A recent graduate turning down a dream job because the rent was too high. A retiree on a fixed income watching their savings vanish. And maybe the hardest thing is watching hope fade. Not because people lack ambition or drive, but because the system no longer lets them dream without a warning sign attached. If this story resonates with you, if you've felt the squeeze, or you know someone fighting to belong somewhere that keeps getting too expensive, share this video. Let's start a conversation, because behind every price tag is a life. And maybe together, we can find a way to make home feel like home again.